Taking both ends of a doubleheader on Friday, Northeastern has won 11 of its last 12 games. Today, the Huskies look to sweep the series with the pride and stay atop the standings in the CAA. Northeastern and Hofstra wrap up their weekend series next on Flo College. Hi, everybody. Welcome to an absolutely picturesque, gorgeous day in Brookline at Friedman Diamond. Yeah, it's raining. It's cold. We've got Adam Giardino. I'm Alex Vespoli. So glad you could join us on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. Well, teams played a doubleheader on Friday so they could avoid the worst of the weather on Saturday. Northeastern, very impressive.
They outscored Hofstra 15-1, but it's as much as the offense was impressive, the pitching continues to be the anchor for this Northeastern program. And this year, they're a nation's leading 8th shutout in Game 2. The numbers continue to impress, and Northeastern, again, the offense is great, the pitching even better.
And one of the headliners for that offense was outfielder Harrison Feinberg continuing his awesome season.
Yeah, 4 hits in the doubleheader, including a home run, and this is a guy who has just grown with consistency over the course of this season, and somebody that on a 4-for-7 day, you just shrug your shoulders if you're Northeastern, and you almost start to expect that kind of performance out of him.
Well, Hofstra could use a boost offensively, and you figure if it's going to come from one guy, it would be third baseman Dylan Palmer.
And Palmer had a nice day. He had a hit in each end of the doubleheader, so this is a guy that is used to getting on base, setting the table, but just like Northeastern's offense, they do much better. Hofstra does when there's havoc on the base paths, and Palmer is the arsonist that can light that fire.
He'll look to extend his 18-game hitting streak this afternoon. For more on this series finale earlier, Adam caught up with Northeastern assistant coach Chris Bosco.
Coach, it was a doubleheader sweep on Friday. You've had 48 hours to get ready for this one. So what was the message for the team after the game, and what have the last couple of days looked like?
Well, the message has been consistent all year that the next game's the most important game, right? So we're treating this game today like it's the most important game, and like you said, we had a nice day off yesterday. Hopefully the guys got to relax, watch some baseball on TV, and get ready to go for today because it's a big one today.
When you look at the performance offensively, Jack Goodman, what do you see in his game that's really picking up as the year's going on?
Jack's super dynamic player. He's got awesome bat speed, and power. He's got all the tools, right? But I think the most impressive thing is his command of his at-bats this year has been outstanding. He goes in every at-bat with a plan, and you can tell he's up there looking to do damage as we need him to, and like he did the other day.
You're somebody that has an extra special focus on the base running. So at this stage of the season, what are you liking most about what your group's doing on the base paths?
I think it's their ability to run the bases as a whole, right? I think, we don't have one guy that stole 25, 30 bases so far. It's just everybody's collective ability to not just steal bases, but also influence the game in all ways out there, getting balls thrown away and taking extra 90s, and then, stealing bases when we can. But I like the aggressiveness so far this year, and we should be able to keep it up today, hopefully, on a nice wet day to run. So
stay dry.
Yep. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Coach. We've got the starting lineups in the first pitch of this one, the series finale, Northeastern and Hofstra coming up next.
This is the CAA on Flo Sports.
After a day off yesterday, it's, I wouldn't say any drier today. Light rain falling, 43 degrees, and winds right around 10 miles an hour, topping out around 16 in pregame. We take a look at the head-to-head in Northeastern. We talked about offensively, they're doing a little bit more than they were earlier this season, but home runs have been a big power for this Huskies team that otherwise doesn't hit a ton of extra base hits.
Yeah, we talked about Harrison Feinberg in the open, and he is certainly one of those guys. He's now up to 11 home runs on the season, hit one on Friday, and it's that combined with the ERA, the walks per 9, and the walks per 9 is tops in the country, not just tops in the conference, as we take a look at the Hofstra lineup that Northeastern will try to neutralize here today.
After Palmer, it's the switch-hitting shortstop Michael Brown, the former Northeastern Husky Luke Masick. He and Palmer are co-captains on this squad, and then you've got Lane, Camera, Castratero, Craig, Snyder, and Biddle rounding out the order for Frank Catalnato's squad. On Northeastern, defensively, They've got a little bit of a different look. How about left field? Matt Brinker, the catcher, hit a home run in Game 2 on Friday, out in left field for the first time ever.
We've got reports that in practice and in batting practice before games that he's out there ranging and making plays in the outfield. And so an opportunity that head coach Mike Glavin sees to get Brinker some run out there. And there's a guy that's hoping he's going to play some sure-handed left field.
The only lefty thrower out there on the diamond right now for the Huskies is the pitcher, Jordan Gottesman, the graduate student out of Acton, Massachusetts, former Endicott Gull in Division III. He's hoping to rebound from his worst outing as a member of the Huskies. Against Campbell last weekend, gave up 6 runs on 4 hits in just 1 inning of work. Raised his ERA from 2.2 to 3.74, and Mike Glavin says, I'd kind of chalk it up to a bad day and a bad matchup for a Campbell team that seems to like to hit Northeastern's lefties. We'll see if the results are any different on a cool, wet Sunday afternoon against the Pride. Here is Dylan Palmer, the junior from West Windsor, New Jersey. Mentioned he is on an 18-game hitting streak. And the first pitch of the day is a called strike one. Right on time at 2:05 this afternoon from Friedman Diamond in Brookline, as Hofstra looks to pick up a win in the series finale after dropping the 2 games on Friday in the doubleheader.
And this is certainly something for Hofstra where there's going to be a balance between attacking early to soft contact and allowing yourself to look some pitches out of the zone, where this is a Northeastern staff that walked just 1 batter in the doubleheader, gave up just 1 run in the doubleheader. So the day off yesterday, Hofstra can recalibrate their offense.
1-2 from Gottesman, and Palmer will stay alive. Just reaches out, taps it with the end of his bat. Dylan Palmer, when he gets on base, he turns singles into doubles pretty quickly with his speed. 20 steals, 3rd in the CAA. Battling here 1-2, and he goes down swinging. Gottesman claims his first victim and gets the very difficult man to strike out, Dylan Palmer, to start his Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, this is somebody who has struck out just 11 times on the season prior to this. That's less than 8% on the season. And so once every couple of games you see something like that, and that's Palmer going down by strikes.
Here is Michael Brown. The shortstop swings away at the first. 1 for 6 in the doubleheader on Friday with a walk and a strikeout. Sophomore from Las Vegas. Can't imagine there are too many mid-April days in Sin City that feel like this, but he'll fly this one into shallow center for Cam Maldonado. And there are 2 quick outs on 7 pitches from the starter, Jordan Gottesman.
Now brings up a guy that is plenty used to games like that. Maybe not, April 13th with snow on the ground the day before, but Luke Masick, plenty familiar with how Friedman Diamond plays this time of year.
From Trumbull, Connecticut. And he taps the first one foul in the box. Masick on Friday, tough day. He was 1 of 7 with 6 strikeouts. He was hit by a pitch and stole a base. But Masick, in his return here to his old home for a couple of seasons, he's had a good season, batting .272 with this Pride program. 7 home runs, leads the club, 31 RBIs, also the team leader there. 6th in the CAA in both homers and doubles with 11. And pokes this one foul. Cued past Alex Lane down that first baseline. And he'll be behind in the count 1-2. Northeastern, their pitchers do such a good job of staying ahead in counts. So much of college baseball is just not doing the other team favors, and Northeastern's pitchers, they don't do a lot for the other team's hitters. And he puts away Masick. Gottesman, 2 strikeouts in the inning. Rings that heater past Luke Masick and polishes off a perfect top half of the first inning. Huskies come to bat right after this. Northeastern looking to finish off a sweep of this 3-game CAA series. They are the only team in the CAA that's won each of its first 4 conference series. Here's the starting lineup. Jack Doyle leading off at third base. Cam Maldonado batting second. And how about this? We mentioned it. You see the catchers in there. Brinker and Bazo both catch your primary position. 3 guys as catchers in the starting lineup for Mike Lavin.
Yeah, and this is an opportunity when you have 3 different catchers in there to understand that, hey, late in the season, you don't want to just run the one guy, Bazo, out there every single time. You'll ruin his legs. You just want to keep guys fresh. And so experimenting with ways to do that. And there is a look at the defense behind Tristan Nemjo. Didn't commit an error in Game 1 of Friday's doubleheader, but did commit a couple of errors in Game 2.
Here he is, the graduate student. A couple of grad students facing each other. He's 6'3", 186 pounds from Troy, New York. He missed all of last season with a forearm injury that did not require Tommy John surgery. And last week against UNCW, longest outing of the season, actually longest in his career, 7 innings against UNCW, 4 runs on 8 hits. He threw 119 pitches and picked up his first win since May 7th of 2023. He'll try and make it 2 in a row and pick up this one against another one of the top teams in the conference. Jack Doyle takes ball 1. Nemjo, not a hard thrower. He'll sit in the mid to upper 80s with his fastball, 85 to 87. Changeup, slider as well. Those are good off-speed pitches for him. And there's the strike zone as Doyle pulls back the bunt. Doyle was 2 of 8 with an RBI and a couple of runs scored on Friday. See the numbers this season. The X factor in the lineup, according to head coach Mike Lavin. He's been swinging the bat very well here as of late.
Well, and he is a guy that his first 2 seasons played just 27 games, had just 9 hits over his first 2 years, and then has turned a corner and has been a steady hand the last 2 years, batting up over 280 in that time.
It feels like just his production with driving runs in, it's more than you would think for a guy who is not necessarily put into the lineup in permanent marker each and every day as the count goes to 2-2. There's a point last year where he was driving in runs at a crazy rate. He drove in 34 runs in 33 games last year. So the 2-2 is popped up into right. Chance on it for Masick. And he retires his old teammate. And so Jack Doyle goes down on 5 pitches to bring up Cam Maldonado.
Yeah, and I think that for Northeastern, this was just a slightly higher scoring offense a year ago, and they averaged 6.5 runs per game this year coming into the weekend, so certainly good enough when you've got the nation's, one of the best pitching staffs numerically, so plenty enough offense, but just to have a guy like Doyle, he was just part of the mix, and really wasn't standing out in any particular way other than just being happy to be along for the ride with guys like Lane and McGregor, just who are putting up historic numbers.
Ball 1 to Maldonado, hitting .375. That's 5th in the CAA. Leads the conference in OPS. 1-1 count here from Nemjo. He went 2 for 7 with a walk, 3 runs scored on Friday in the doubleheader action. Once again out there in center field. Michael Craig is in center field after Friday's doubleheader. Got off to a really unfortunate start for Tyler Cox, suffering an injury and not back out there today. No, that was a really tough situation in the game on Friday, and we wish the best for Tyler Cox.
Yeah, certainly. Anytime you see an ambulance need to arrive on a property during a baseball game, just unusual and unfortunate.
1-2, hammered out to center field. Craig tested early, but the ballpark is big enough to hold this in as Maldonado flies out to center. And there are 2 away on fly balls against Tristan Nemjo.
probably not the best plan of attack here today. The wind is blowing in steadily from left center field, and it can shift over the course of the day, but we did see the wind blowing out to left center on Friday, and that is absolutely not going to be to the benefit of the hitters here today.
Here's Harrison Feinberg. Touched on him in the open. Yeah, the wind was coming in, it's 16, 17 miles an hour at its most fearsome. It might kick up more than that. Flag blowing straight in from center field as Feinberg skewers that one to the right side. Harrison, big day on Friday. 4 of 7, a double, a home run, 5 RBIs. He scored 4 times and stole 2 bases. And that's a complete day.
He needed a day off yesterday.
1-1. He'll be in a 1-2 count. At this point in the season, I don't think many people would have pegged the Huskies team leader in stolen bases coming into the year to be Harrison Feinberg. He's 5th in the conference with 15 steals and 16 chances.
Right, it's the efficiency as well that for Feinberg has been a huge boon.
1-2. Stay alive up there.
And this is a Northeastern team that has 5 guys with 10 or more stolen bases. You mentioned Feinberg, 15. 14 for Carmelo Muzacchia, 13 for Ryan Garrity, 12 for Cam Maldonado, and 11 for Jack Goodman.
Another 1-2 from Nemjo, and it's grounded to third. Palmer has it cut of the grass and throws out Feinberg to get his speed, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for both starters, so the pitcher is feeling good early. It's on to the second. Scoreless baseball in Brookline. Jordan Gottesman, already a better day today than he had on Sunday a week ago, and Northeastern would like to have as good of a day today as they had 2 days ago. They outscored the Pride 15-1, and all those runs unanswered after Hofstra got off to a 1-0 lead in the second inning. And you were talking about the pitching. The strikeout to walk ratio over the course of a day wasn't exactly an easy day to throw. It was a little bit nicer than today, but you're not talking about a 75-degree day and sunny where pitchers get really good grips on the baseball.
Yeah, and it was just every single person that touched the baseball on Friday, you just sort of expected that things were going to go well for them the way that Northeastern was handing the baton off one after the other.
Ball and a strike on first baseman Sean Lane. Couple of doubles. He was 2 for 7 on Friday. See the numbers for him this season. He's been a productive player in the middle of the order for Frank Catalanato's team. Goes chasing the off-speed there, 1-2. And at this point, Gottesman has been ahead of every batter he's faced. The lefty's 1-2. He got him swinging. Bottom dropped out of that pitch. And Lane, the third strikeout victim for Gottesman through 4 batters.
And this is just an example of you never know where a guy's going to pop up from. And Gottesman is someone who all year long has been so strong for Northeastern, coming in from Division III Endicott. And you just have to appreciate how baseball is a sport where the best players at 18 aren't going to be the best players at 22. That there's always room to grow and get better.
Don Camera finds himself down in the count here, 0-2. Another guy who had one of the rare good days offensively for Hofstra on Friday. He was 3 for 6 with a run batted in. Drove in the only run that Hofstra scored. But what you're talking about is right. And, talent can come from anywhere. And we've seen guys who have Division III or JUCO backgrounds get up to the major leagues and have success there. There's a hard shot just past Gottesman. Muzakia the snare. The throw. It's in time, and Lane held the bag. My goodness, a lot to unpack on that 4-3.
Oh, man. Now that's it. 4-3 in your scorebook, everybody. That was a life before your eyes flashing line drive past the pitcher. Spectacular there from Muzakia. And how about having a 6'5" first baseman who's able to range over and pick a ball like that?
Here's a flare by Castratero, and Muzakia, he can move right, he can move left, and he can send us to the last of the second inning. No score, and a couple of nice plays by the man at the Keystone for Northeastern. It's a really nice luxury for Northeastern and Mike Lavin to have a guy who was a pretty good shortstop playing at second base this season. That's what Carmelo Muzaki is showing here with this type of play.
Just incredible. And if you're Gottesman, that ball misses your head and you're just happy you weren't drilled by it. You don't think for a second that you're about to get the second out of the inning. But that's just the way that things seem to crumble for Northeastern, especially lately head-to-head against Hofstra, picking up a pair of wins on Friday, ballooning that lead in the all-time series. And it's been a long time since Hofstra has taken a series from the Huskies.
More than a decade, and obviously it's going to have to wait until next year as the first pitch to Goodman is grounded to the shortstop, Brown. Plenty of time to get the Northeastern shortstop, and Jack Goodman, who had 2 home runs and 7 RBIs on Friday, out on 1 pitch here in the second inning.
And yeah, we've seen all 10 batters retired so far to begin this one. 6 up, 6 down for Gottesman. So far, first 4 in order from Nemjo.
We talk about this can't be an easy day for pitchers to get a really good grip on the baseball. Certainly feels a lot colder than that 43-degree temperature on the thermometer would read. Of course, not an easy day to hit between the wind, the heaviness of the air, and when you got guys that are throwing strikes the way that Nemjo and Gottesman are doing, that doesn't make it any easier. Here is Muzakia.
Yeah, I think that it's going to be the team, and this is going to be obvious, but just get guys to first base, and then these two teams are open to suggestion in terms of creating havoc. Just make it hard for the pitcher and catcher to hold base runners, get your guys on, and then just start running.
Yeah, Muzakia, one of those guys, 6th in the conference in steals, so trouble if he gets on for Hofstra. 1-1 pitch from Nemjo, and he overthrew that one. Been a tough month of April for Carmelo. Batting 179 here since the start of April. Guy who's had a lot of success, though, this season. And of course, we saw defensively what he can do as the 2-1 is outside, and umpire Nicholas mulled it over, but decided it was ball 3. Brian Peterson, the first base umpire, and Kyle Nickel, is at third. Going to give his 5 cents worth, right? 3-1. Challenged him with the high fastball. Musakia probably swung at ball 4 there.
Well, we know you're going to get your 5 cents worth at any opportunity, Alex.
Can't help myself, right? Payoff pitch coming from Nemjo. And it's in the air to right center field. Craig and Masick circling under it, and it's the former Husky who makes the grab. Second fly ball. He's tracked down, and there are 2 away here in the second.
Again, ball in the air, winds knocking it down. Not that that ball would have done much even on a perfectly breezy day to the outfield track, but we saw the one ball by Maldonado for Northeastern in the first inning, and that was the one that makes you go, okay, fly balls aren't really going to cut it today because he really got a good piece of that one.
Base is clear and 2 down for the catcher, Will Fosberg. Freshman from Natick, 0 for 3 in Game 1 on Friday. Saw his batting average drip down to .221. Really promising lefty swinging catcher. Young guy. And this is the start of the catcher portion of the order for Northeastern. You've got 3 out of 4 hitters who are catchers by trade, with Bazo next and then Brinker. They'd have to stage a 2-out rally to get to him. And that's lifted to left field. Stymied Snyder for a moment, now comes in on it and puts it away to retire the side. So Nemjo and Gottesman, perfect through 2. Offense is silent early on here in the series finale.
Scoreless, 12 up, 12 down from these 2 starters through a couple of innings as we roll into the third. And for Northeastern, it's Jordan Gottesman who stands up here on the bump with some really good numbers for him so far this season. For the Hofstra Pride, their pitching staff, this is what they're dealing with. And frankly, it's encouraging to see that for Hofstra, we haven't seen any of that really this entire series leading into today. And the pitching has it's been a great start so far for Nemjo, just picking up where Friday's staff left off.
I think that there's something true that both coaches talked about, that Hofstra gets up for playing Northeastern. And in a game like this, a series like this, even though you look at the lopsided score of the game on both games on Friday, Hofstra was playing pretty good baseball. They just were beaten by a team that was playing better. In the case of Northeastern, hitting balls out of the ballpark, and I think that they're playing sharp, and that's something. Even if they lose this series, they feel like they can take with them.
3-pitch strikeout. That is 4 of the first 7 men struck out by Gottesman to begin this one.
And he's just feeling it with everything here. He goes off speed, looked like maybe a slider here from Gottesman. Definitely a breaking ball. And you get ahead 0-2. And what can Michael Craig do? That pitch is probably going to be a called strike 3. It's so tough to hit and get a beat on when you're only up there for 3 pitches.
And he's pounded the zone with another.
Trenton Snyder, I don't think he agreed with that call. He's saying, hey, the guy's good enough. He doesn't need any extra help on a borderline pitch like that.
Falls through the zone. It's a ball and a strike. Yeah, and for Gottesman, his 4 years at Endicott culminated with an 11-win season a year ago with a 3.2 earned run average, over 100 strikeouts in 85 innings. And it was the first year that he was
Race for the foul ball.
There were a couple of those battles on Friday. And two-seamer runs just off the outside corner. I don't think we had anything that approached what we just saw, though. Northeastern victorious. And, for Gottesman, Tapper to third, Doyle on the move in time by a step to get the pretty fleet-footed Snyder for out number 2.
Yeah, just a smooth play down there by Doyle. Looks very professional the way he handles that, and there was no panic, even though one might have had some, given how lightly it was hit.
For Gottesman to have just about 40 innings in his first 3 seasons, turn things around his 4th year as senior year, to be given that opportunity, and then to parlay that opportunity into a spot in one of the Northeast powers with Northeastern, and to carve out a role in the weekend rotation. Breaking ball misses upstairs for ball 2. It's 2-0.
And it's a really nice connection that Chris Bosco, who you had a chance to talk to before today's game, knew Gottesman in the family and was able to parlay that connection into helping get him to come to Northeastern. Obviously, it's been a great connection for both him and for the program.
Especially in this era of having an extra year with the COVID 5th year. That's soon to come to an end. But in the transfer portal era, any relationship you make with a kid in high school nowadays, you just never know. Slapped hard the other way, and we have our first base runner. 15 batters in, and it's the 9-hole hitter, Nick Biddle, who's aboard.
Just a really good piece of hitting. He got ahead early in the count. Then Gottesman battling back to make it 2-0 or 2-2, and Nick Biddle just puts bat to ball, finds the open spot in the defense, and despite all the heroics we saw from Muzakia defensively last inning, could not get to that ball.
Biddle not a candidate to take off. He's just one of 3 this season, especially when you've got one of the best hitters in program history in the box, and Dylan Palmer. Slap foul.
Lefty on the mound, too. Surely is, if not a stop sign for those base runners over there at first base, a take heed warning, a yellow light.
You've got Palmer with 20 steals. The number 3 hitter is Luke Masick. He's 12 of 13. Trenton Snyder also a candidate. He's 6 for 6. Here's a drag bunt, and Gottesman slips off the mound. He pops up in frustration on a beautiful bunt single for Dylan Palmer.
And with that, 19 consecutive games with a hit, 33 in a row that he's reached base in, and does it with a little English on that ball, and Gottesman could not spring to get to it. It would have been tough with Palmer running out of that lefty batter's box. If he had cleanly fielded it, would have been a play at first base.
Switch hitting Michael Brown. Big cut from the right side for strike 1. So yeah, a couple of guys on this team, especially with the lefty Gottesman on the mound, as you talked about. It's an extra variable with the lefty staring at you. But I still think this is a day with if you're Hofstra, if you're Northeastern, you're probably not going to win this game on homers. So just force the other team to make as many mistakes, or at least make as many plays as they can to beat you.
Yeah, this is really, even though it's early in the game, you feel like on a day like today, it wouldn't be crazy to think that the final score ends up being 1-0 in either team's favor. So this becomes a really important sequence here with the top of the order up.
But 2 outs and 2 strikes. Gottesman fouled off. He retired the first 8 men in order before back-to-back singles. Biddle's at second, Palmer at first. Gray skies overhead with temperatures sitting in the low 40s. The pitch. Punch to right field. This is Feinberg. He's there. He makes the catch as that one strung up long enough, and Brown is retired. Scoreless through 2.5. Northeastern. They got the edge in one way, looking to take the lead in another. Scoreless to the bottom of the third for head coach Mike Glavin. 150 CAA wins after the doubleheader. It's 151 CAA wins now. Just an incredible benchmark and one of many to come for a Northeastern lifer.
It's been great from a Northeastern perspective to watch the evolution that the team has made under Coach Glavin. You know, they went from a team that was just hoping to get into the CAA postseason, and we'll see what happens there, into a squad under his watch that it's almost assured every year they're going to finish in that top 6, make it into the postseason, and of course have a chance not only to win the tournament, but to make it into the NCAA tournament, even if they weren't champions in the CAA, which they've done a couple of times.
Yeah, that's honestly the next step, the next evolution, and that goes hand in hand with all of the big programs in the Northeast, whether that be a Boston College, whether that be a University of Connecticut, where those 3 schools have proven they can compete on the national stage, and it's just finding a way to get your computer numbers where they need to be to earn the respect of the committee, who frankly it felt in hindsight criminal that Northeastern team last year was left on the outside looking in. Tapper from Bozzo. Palmer got him.
Well, we know what Palmer can do with the bat. Now seeing a chance what he can do with the glove. And, boy, I don't know if he's going to stick at the next level as a third baseman, but he shows that he's more than capable of handling the position. This is a really tricky play, even with the catcher Bozzo running. He grabs that on the move. Remember, it's a wet surface out there, and makes the play look routine.
Next up, Alex Lane. Ball 1. Yeah, and for Palmer, he's a guy that his skill set doesn't scream third base at you. And that's where, if he were to go on and play professionally, chopped from Lane, easy from Brown. 2 gone. There just aren't too many 5'9", speedy, 170-pound third basemen that stick at the upper level. So that's why we say, what does he project at? But I mean, clearly he can play the infield. He's got the arm strength. Sometimes scouts just need to be creative and not assume what they think they see is what they see.
Well, he seems like a guy that can play all over the diamond.
Mm-hmm.
And he can show you that, I can play third base. Certainly, if I were to have to with a particular team, I'm sure that he'd be flying around in the outfield, too, with his speed.
And now Tristan Nemjo is up, no balls and 2 strikes. He still hasn't allowed a base runner. It's been 8 up, 8 down. This is where Hofstra got back-to-back singles last inning. The 0-2. Sinks it low.
That was just his 31st pitch of the day, so very efficient.
.40 pitches through 3 scoreless innings for Gottesman. Missile to left center field. This sends Snyder back. He's on the track. He's at the wall, and it's gone. Through the teeth of an incoming breeze, Matt Brinker has put Northeastern on the board.
Second time in as many games for Brinker, starting to get hot with the bat. Second home run of the season for the Norfolk native. He gets a fastball right in his happy zone and deposits this just south of the scoreboard. Trying to put him away, 1-2 with a heater, and Brinker was ready for it and got it on the right part of the bat to send that ball out of here and break open the perfect game, no-hitter, and shutout with one swing.
Really didn't think we would see a home run here today. And on the ensuing pitch, popped out of play by Doyle, so
Popped
he'll
out of
stay
that guy's
alive.
hands, too. Cold day, he's ruining it right now. It's a tough ball to catch.
I mean, if you're going to hurt yourself, right? I mean, it's not comfortable to try and catch one of those, even a soft pop-up, barehanded on a day like today. You're going to feel it. Make the play.
No excuses for in your mind. Touch it, you catch it.
I mean, he's clearly in discomfort. May as well. The 0-1. Down and away.
You sure that's not the hand and the pride maybe converging?
Well, we've got the Huskies and the Pride converging here today. The finale of a 3-game set. Chopped foul by Jack Doyle, who flew out to right field to begin the bottom of the first inning. We had gray skies on Friday. Didn't affect any pop flies, fly balls, nothing in the air that were bothersome. So far, fielders seem to be having an easy time tracking the ball here today as well. Great breaking ball from Nemjo, just misses away.
That's an excellent take by Doyle. Feel like you have to protect with 2 strikes, and that ball starts but does not finish in the strike zone.
The 2-2. That guy gets some redemption. He's tracking it over his shoulder. It's beyond his reach.
Yeah, he wants another shot.
He does.
You know, that's can assume that is a Northeastern fan or perhaps a family member. He's got the logo underneath the coat. He wants to redeem himself.
And we're going to be following every opportunity that he has. 3-2. For Nemjo, we haven't seen any walks, which he comes in with almost 5 walks per 9 innings. But so far, the control's been good. And a breaking ball just misses the inside corner. That was close. Instead, it's a 2-out walk.
I think that nobody would have been surprised if Nick Mull had rung up Jack Doyle. Good-looking pitch, but apparently maybe a little bit in, maybe a little bit down, not close enough. And first walk or strikeout from Nemjo today. Everything has been hit into play against him before that. Let's take a look here. That was the previous pitch that was on the 1-2 count.
And then the ball 4 pitch was even a touch closer, and it almost looked like Doyle had committed to letting the ball hit him and then realized, okay, this one's going to finish not where I can drop an elbow into it, but didn't get rung up.
And that's not the worst strategy against Nemjo. You take a look at his numbers, and these guys all know about the tendencies of the pitchers, and Nemjo's got the second most hit batters in the conference with 11, so Northeastern certainly not shy about wearing pitches, but that was a borderline whether it was going to be a strike or a ball.
Well, and Hofstra, as a staff, has hit 70 this season, which seems like a large number, and it is. It's 10th nationally in the wrong direction. 10th best, 10th worst, whatever you want to slice it.
And we saw those numbers, the pitching staff, the previous half inning. It's just been tough with those hit batters, walks, wild pitches.
There goes the runner. Fastball to the outside part of the plate, and the tag right on the helmet as the third inning comes to a close. Jack Doyle gunned down for the first time this season on a nice throw from Nick Biddle. But it's a homer from Matt Brinker that gives Northeastern its first hit and gives Northeastern the 1-0 lead headed to the fourth. One nothing Northeastern on top as we go to the fourth inning. He's Alex Vespoli. Adam Giardino with you for Hofstra. It's Luke Masick and then Sean Lane due up. He had a couple of doubles in the opener of the doubleheader, and you can just see where, for him, how that career, what the trajectory is starting to look like, and a guy that began his career at University of Maryland and where things stand now.
Yeah, it's been a big boost to be able to get his back going. And Hofstra, the issue, of course, has not been the hitting this season. It's been the pitching that's held them back. For legitimate reasons, they suffered a host of injuries in the fall and had to put some younger guys out there on the mound, and not just on the mound, but in other spots. That they're a really inexperienced team, and sometimes they've made some of those inexperienced mistakes.
Fastball just misses the outside corner. A host of scouts are gathered below with phones out and radar guns, taking a look at Gottesman along with other players involved in this weekend series. That pitch doesn't miss by much either as it evens the count.
Yeah, these are the type of days where your big league organization, you're hoping I'm a Southeast scout.
Here's a swing and a miss. Strike three as Masick goes down. Masick's been retired 8 times this series, and he has struck out all 8 of those.
Yeah, just tough for him. And you have to imagine he is so excited to play back here in his home ballpark. It's not the first time he's played Northeastern, but first time he's made his return since transferring to Hempstead. And perhaps a case of being a little bit overamped here in this series. And Northeastern's pitchers, they don't need anybody to be overamped. They can do this against other good hitters with how good this staff is, but taking advantage.
1-1 on Lane, who I mentioned that 2-double game in game 1 of the doubleheader on Friday. That was his first career multi-extra base hit game. He's played 47 games for Hofstra, 66 games overall when you add in his season with Maryland, but a couple of doubles on Friday. That was a new frontier for him to cross.
Yeah, his season's really turned around. He got off to a tough start. First 9 games was hitting 148, but since then batting .321 with extra base hits aplenty, not just the doubles, but 5 home runs in that span since game number 10 of the season. That coincided with the series down at Kentucky.
End of the bat, flared foul. No one close to it.
Trying to pull like ball out from Mike Trout's glove. See that happen last night in the Angel game? Somebody said they were protecting their son by reaching in and pulling the ball out of the glove.
Protecting their son's college fund, is that what it was? Sharp ground ball to the shortstop. Goodman. 2 gone. Oh, it was on a transfer that the ball popped out. No argument from Hofstra, and pretty definitive call from Brian Peterson.
Yeah, Lane pretty sure-handed over there at first base. You talked about his length earlier, and he's a guy who splits his time between first base and left field, provides Northeastern some options with his defense.
Camera sizzles one back up the middle. All 3 hits today for Hofstra have come with 2 outs, but it does extend the inning as Camera is aboard.
Continuing a good weekend for him. He's now 4 for 8 with the bat, boosting that batting average up. He came into the day second on the team in batting average at .333. He's now up to .340. And a little bit of life with the tying run aboard.
Thinking about Gottesman and what his career has looked like with 4 years at Endicott. In these D3 guys getting an opportunity to get to the D1 level, a lot of different programs take that opportunity. And for Gottesman, knowing that he had a teammate that did it 1 year prior in Gabe Van Emmen, who went on from Endicott, a really good Endicott team in 2023. Last year pitched for the University of Connecticut, led them to a super regional by closing out a regional at Oklahoma. Here's a throw across in time, ends the inning, and Van Emmen was a Cape Cod League All-Star as well last year. So seeing it and making it happen, and Gottesman, 4 shutout innings, making it happen here today. Two, 3-4 due up for Northeastern. The 1-0 lead for the Huskies thanks to Matt Brinker's homer last inning. And this is the guy leading things off, Cam Maldonado, who has been so dynamic this year, coming off of a down sophomore season. Well, he's picked it up and more from where he left off as a freshman.
Yeah, and he has shown some maturity in terms of his approach. And we talked about this with Mike Glavina, how teams are hunting for Maldonado when it comes to the scouting report. He's not getting a lot of fastballs, and he realizes he's got to kind of lay off some of the pitches that pitchers want him to swing at and take more walks, do damage more selectively, and he's been able to do that really nicely the last few weeks. And my goodness, he has taken a huge jump. He's going to be another guy who's probably going to get his name called in a couple of months in the Major League Draft.
The pitch home. Sharp ground ball. Leadoff single for Cam Maldonado. He's aboard to begin the 4th.
And for him, much like we saw with Dylan Palmer, a hit streak extender. That gives him 17 consecutive games with a base knock.
And for Maldonado, he's doing it at less than 100%. We saw him couple of times pull up with probably not full sprinter speed. We know what he is capable of on the base paths. He holds. Fastball misses away to Harrison Feinberg.
Yeah, he tweaked that hamstring against Harvard last month and has been kind of nursing it ever since, and certainly has not limited his ability to swing that bat well. And perhaps on a day like today, I mean, I don't know, with a guy like Maldonado not at 100%, you wonder how much Mike Lavin, gives him the green light to steal. Obviously, he's playing him in center field, so it's not that dire.
Well,
but
we had speculated about that on Friday, and as we were talking, he just kept taking off. So
Yep.
it didn't seem to affect much whatsoever. It's 2-0. Feinberg gets a fastball, and it misses, so 3 balls and no strikes. Nemjo made it 8 up, 8 down to begin this ball game, but now the last 3 men have reached homer, walk, single. The walk resulted in a caught stealing eventually. As a fastball is poured right down the middle. Quick check and a dive back.
Huskies were 6 for 6 stealing bases on Friday, but 0 for 1 today. Good throw by Nick Biddle. Good pitch to throw down on when they got Jack Doyle to finish out the third.
The runner does go, but it's a breaking ball high. The throw down in time, but ball 4.
The batter, Harrison Feinberg, kind of put his shoulder into Biddle on that throw, and at first you're thinking, oh my goodness, you don't see that very often. Guy is probably going to get called for some sort of batter's interference, and then you remember what the count was, and all the drama with what would happen on the throw kind of goes out the window there. But it continues. We were talking about guys getting on, and it goes to the command. It just hasn't been there the last couple of batters here for Nemjo, and that's, I'm sure, something that Nick Biddle's trying to reinvigorate what he was doing earlier in the game. And part of it might be that, hey, Northeastern's now had a look at Nemjo. They know what to expect, and they're a little bit wiser to the type of game plan that he had to start the game against them.
With Alex Vespoli, Adam Giardino with you. Thanks to our entire Flo College crew. Rainy, cold. Happy April. It's Jack Goodman. The batter awaits. His fastball grabs most of the outside part of the plate. 5 of the last 7 games for Goodman have been multi-hit performances, batting .450 in that time. And in those 7 games, 5 homers and 17 runs batted in, averaging almost 2.5 RBI per game last couple of weeks. But he's down 0-2.
A little hungry. Good pitch by Nemjo. He got that outside corner. The first pitch, and this time breaking ball was never going to be a strike, but Goodman a little over anxious, and now we'll see what he does with 2 strikes on him.
Maldonado beats Michael Brown back to the bag. There's no throw. .0-2. Slider away.
A smart pitch there. You just fooled him on an outside offering in the previous pitch. Try and do it again. Take advantage of him being maybe a little bit jumpy, trying to protect the plate. But here's where the battle really begins between Nemjo and Goodman.
And it's a swing and a miss as Nemjo picks up his first strikeout of the afternoon.
and really needed it too. He goes with the breaking ball, leaves it away, and Goodman, again, a little bit anxious at this, trying to stay alive, get a piece. Now, this is why getting ahead in counts is so important, and that's a little bit more like the Tristan Nemjo. Even though he wasn't striking out guys earlier, he was getting the pitches where he wanted them and getting a lot of soft contact early on.
Both runners bluff. A bunt is popped up back to the screen by Carmelo Muzakia. Well, Northeastern is known for the double steal, but it didn't seem that that was what was on. It almost seemed as if the double steal was to put the defense in motion while Muzakia bunted for a base hit.
Yeah, it's what they call the chaos ball at Northeastern, and you've got so many guys who can do different things, guys who can run, guys who have really good bat control. Muzakia, a good bunter. And Nemjo steps off here. When we spoke with Frank Catalanato, he said Mike Lavin's a tough coach to coach against because he kind of does some things that maybe you weren't predicting, and he puts you into stressful situations like this potentially could be. And he says, whenever I coach against him, I try and pick some things that he does.
And Cam Maldonado grabs third base without a throw. Again, it's first and second with one out. It wasn't a double steal, or maybe it was. Maybe Feinberg missed the signal, but certainly you don't see that look often where both runners will either bluff or one will take off, one won't. And now, insurance run 90 feet away. It's looked all the way in by Muzakia.
And you're hoping that somebody makes a mistake somewhere. You've got a freshman behind the plate. You're hoping maybe an errant throw on a throw down to second base gets away, and then all of a sudden you bring home Maldonado to score from second base on a play like that. So it's just trying to open up the window of opportunity for mistakes to be made that you can take advantage of. That is part of what Mike Lavin likes to do, and he can do that with his team, or they can go ahead and hit a bunch of home runs and beat you that way. He loves the versatility of this team.
Conversation with his hitter, you wonder whether the discussion is how comfortable do you feel leaving the bunt signal on here?
And this is a smart thing to do. You throw over to first base, not because you're necessarily thinking you'll pick off Feinberg. It's a bonus if you do, but maybe you look for the tell that is Muzakia starting to slide his hands up to bunt. Carmelo did not show any sign on that pickoff attempt.
The runner goes at first. A breaking ball is battled away as Feinberg needs to head back to first base.
And then you figure, from Northeastern's perspective, that was an information pickoff attempt. He's probably not going to pick off again, so I'm going to take off here. It is really interesting to see how the cat and mouse game goes in a spot like this.
But so far, just one run over 3 1/3 innings for the right-hander Nemjo. Feinberg digs in over at first. He bluffs. Ground ball, base hit. Maldonado scores. Picked up by Snyder. It's station to station for Feinberg. Northeastern doubles its lead in the 4th inning.
Just a good piece of hitting by Muzakia. Down in the count here, 1-2. Left out in a zone he can do some damage with, and all of the tricks, the machinations, it just ends up with a standard base hit to left to score a guy from third. Hey, but you know what? Maldonado probably doesn't score from second base on a ball like that, unless he's got a head start, you figure. So stolen base nets a run, even if it is somewhat of a risk stealing third.
Feinberg unbothered at second base. The bunt shown. The throw goes down to third. And Feinberg is in there. A double steal as Muzakia follows his lead. And 3 steals in the inning has put things into motion for the Huskies.
And just when you think things have settled down, very first pitch to the next batter, you take off. And Northeastern back in business again, and base hit by Fosberg could double the lead.
And Feinberg, with his leadoff of second base, he knew he was going to need every inch to steal third base, especially with the left-handed hitter up. And you'll see it here, he doesn't balk at all the fact that Michael Brown, the shortstop, was covering the bag at second. He was daring Nemjo to throw him out and try and pick him off. 2-0. First base is open. Fosberg has been struggling, though. He's 2 for his last 22. And so Fosberg would be absolutely tickled to load the bases here with 1 out any way possible.
And going to get a visit here with the count at 3-0 from pitching coach Chris Rojas. This is the collateral damage that, again, you hope to inflict if you're Northeastern when you do all these games and run and show bunt and all of these different things, is to not only unnerve the other team, but really get the pitcher off of his game. Nobody up in the bullpen, so this is purely just a strategy session and probably a mindset reframe here for Nemjo, because he seems like he has been bothered by everything that's gone on here this inning.
Nemjo has gone over 80 pitches 5 times this season. Last time out against UNCW, he got the win throwing 119 pitches, 7 innings, 4 runs. And so through 3 innings, he had thrown just 42 pitches. So 14 pitches an inning. So even though he's hit a speed bump here, that's why the empty, quiet bullpen is understandable for Hofstra.
He's up to 61 pitches here through 3 1/3.
So his 20th pitch of the inning misses, and it gets away. It scores Feinberg. Muzaki is up to third as Fosberg scores, and Northeastern's made it 3-0.
Well, that was not the intended result from the mound visit. Ball 4 and the pitch getting away, and again, the mistakes compounding upon each other, and every run so precious on a day like today where you're just not sure how many opportunities you'll get, especially with the way that Gottesman has looked and Northeastern as a team.
Yeah, Northeastern as a team has now thrown 20 consecutive scoreless innings dating back to the second inning. His pitch is up and in, and Fosberg is off. He steals second. Basel pulls back the sacrifice. So a 4th steal of the inning for Northeastern. Nick Biddle had thrown out 6 of 40 base runners coming into the weekend. Threw out the first man that tried it against him last inning, and Northeastern undaunted. That's the incredible thing, Alex, is you get thrown out to end last inning, and most teams would reconsider.
That is not in the playbook for Mike Lavin. He is not afraid to have guys get thrown out. He doesn't want it to affect the rest of his running game. It's so critical to what Northeastern wants to do offensively.
Punched foul on what was, I would say, a safety squeeze plus there. Wasn't a total suicide squeeze.
Yeah, they love to run those squeeze plays with Bazo up there. He's a very good bunter, and you saw a shot of the bullpen. Not quite with the same pep as those races for the foul balls, but there are players jogging out to that left field bullpen, as it looks like Nemjo is just run out of his command here in the 4th inning.
Breaking ball, punched in the air to right field. Masick in foul ground, sizes it up and makes the catch. Muzaki at tags. Here comes the throw and a great slide. Beats out a pretty good throw from Masick. A run home, Fosberg to third. Northeastern opening it up even more here in the 4th.
That was a terrific throw from Masick. I didn't think they'd have much of a chance of getting Muzakia with his speed barreling down that third baseline, but you're right. He's looking like he needs a cape on this slide. Look at the spot he ended up on the slick turf. Musakia, like he was going into a slip and slide on a summer day, darts home with another run.
And now here is if Nemjo, and obviously Alex Lane is having a tough year as we look at Masick out there in right field. But imagine if you're Nemjo, if you're anybody, and all of a sudden you got to deal with the guy that hit 18 home runs and had 80 runs batted in on the season last year, and he's the 8-hole hitter standing in at 6'5" against you.
Yeah, career leader in runs batted in for Northeastern. He and Tyler McGregor set that record for a single season last year together. And if he is hitting how he was really coming into this series over the previous couple of weeks, it becomes such a deep lineup with so many guys who are dangerous with the bat.
The wind has shifted, just blowing gently out to the left field pole as he smokes one down the line at the left field pole, but it's foul.
Oh, he extends those arms and gets the good part of the bat. That ball is smarting, but just a little out in front of this one. Boy, Lane, he just hits it with so much authority. Kind of hacksaw swing that he has.
It's 2 balls and 2 strikes to the Lumberjack. Down and away.
That's the pitch sometimes that's given him some trouble, those breaking balls away. So for him, that's a good step that he lays off of it. See what Nemjo comes back to him on 3-2.
Outside, ball 4. It's a walk, and if you're Alex Lane, it's a really good at bat. It's a really good at bat.
Absolutely. You know, you bash that ball ever so slightly foul, and all you want to do is swing that bat again and make it count this time. And shows really great restraint taking those pitches away and getting it first base.
So here's Matt Brinker. He homered last inning, and he's hit this inning. The bases are loaded as the lineup turns over to Jack Doyle.
It's just been such a difficult second time through the order here, and it started at the end of the first time through the order. Told you how hit by pitches have been an issue for Nemjo this season. That's his 12th. He came into the weekend second in the CAA in hit by pitches, and now they are loaded up here for Jack Doyle, which is not a good recipe to stay in this game. You're still just a pitch away from getting out of the inning, keeping the damage at just 4.
It's pitch number 32 of the inning, and Doyle takes a sinking fastball at the knees. Doyle was caught stealing to end last inning. He chops one foul here.
Northeastern has hit 3 grand slams this season. Hit by Ryan Garrity, Alex Lane, and Harrison Feinberg this season.
Ryan Garrity not in the lineup today. Sophomore from Franklin, Massachusetts. Smoked foul on a line. Garrity's numbers have been sagging of late, so the day off, perhaps to clear the head. We've got another foot race out there for the foul ball. And a little chirping as well. Good-natured, we presume. No balls, 2 strikes coming up here to Doyle. Jammed in the air, shallow left. The shortstop, Brown, makes the call, and he squeezes it. Bases left loaded by Northeastern. They add 3 runs to the lead, but Hofstra does what it needs to ultimately escape without a whole host of damage. Here come the Pride in the 5th.
Well, if you look closely in that back of the dugout, standing up, you might get a glimpse of former 14-year big leaguer Frank Catalanato. Over 1,200 games in the big leagues. I mean, he was a good player. You have a career that long, and a lot of different teams want to play. Of course, he played a lot for Texas and Toronto, Detroit to start his career. Really notable Frank Catalanato big leaguer. You know, we brought up Coach Catalanato to Mike Lavin, and he said, you know, he's a real big leaguer, you know, not like me, which I think is a discredit to Mike Lavin, who had a long professional career to make the big leagues, but certainly Frank Catalanato, you just don't see resumes like that coaching mid-major college baseball.
I just love the fact that, you know, baseball has gone to the point where, you saw the numbers on the screen, and then there's his B WAR, his batting WAR, numbers that didn't even exist when he was a player. If you asked Frank Catalanato in the early 2000s, yeah, what do you think about your B WAR? I don't think he'd have much of an answer for you. Probably doesn't have much of an answer for you now either.
Now, Michael Craig doesn't have an answer for Jordan Gottesman as he goes down swinging for the second time. Off-speed pitch subdues him, and that's 6 strikeouts for Gottesman, who had to wait a while on that first base dugout bench in the cold conditions. It doesn't look like it's affected him too much as he goes to work against Trenton Snyder, the junior from Jacksonville.
It'd be interesting for Frank Catalanato out on the recruiting trail, just in terms of how much do you tell the kids who you are versus, you're going out and you're talking to 16, 17-year-olds who they would have no concept of who you were as a player. That just wasn't in their lifetime. So
there's a swing and a miss from Snyder, 1 and 2.
It'd be an interesting balancing act to try and strike, to say, I played for 14 years, even if you've never maybe heard of me all that much. But of a certain generation, probably 10 years prior, if you were a fan of baseball, there is no way you could enjoy baseball as a fan and not know that you wanted Frank Catalanato on your team.
Yeah, as mentioned, a really good hitter. Big swing and a miss. Snyder down on strikes. He goes fishing, and Gottesman has 7 today. The graduate student racking them up now with a 4-0 lead.
Getting more and more comfortable, which is worse and worse news for Hofstra, as they're trying to claw their way back. They just gave up a 3 spot, and so you think you need to swing your way back in. But as you saw, Snyder definitely chased a pitch out of the zone there.
Ball 1 to Nick Biddle, who singled his first time, the first of 3 base knocks against Gottesman, the only base runners today. Biddle got to second base on the bunt single by Palmer, but no one's advanced to third yet for the Pride. Do you think Frank Catalanato walks around as this is skied into right field? Harrison Feinberg will make the catch. You think he walks around with a trophy that says, I've got the 4th highest fielding percentage of any left fielder in Major League history? If he doesn't, somebody in Hempstead should start a fund for that. His team, though, trails 4-0. Here's Mike Lavin talking to his team, leading 4-0. How about this? Really neat that both of these coaches are locals to the teams that they coach. Mike Lavin from nearby Billerica, and Frank Catalanato is from Long Island, and both long professional careers. Lavin and Catalanato, nearly 3,000 professional games, not major league games. We want to make that clear. That is professional games between the two. And then kind of a weird note, Mike Lavin, his only major league hit came on September 28th, 2003, and he went 1 for 2 with a strikeout. Frank Catalanato had the exact same line as a pinch hitter in a game with the Toronto Blue Jays against the Cleveland Indians at the time. And what was, I'm sure, tough for Catalanato is that he needed one more hit or one fewer at-bat to finish that season with a 300 average. He was stuck at the dreaded 299 to finish the 2003 season.
But for Catalanato, there was the 2001 season where he hit .330, which was 5th best in the American League. And for Frank Catalanato, again, as we talked about last half inning with regards to Hofstra's head coach, if you were a fan of baseball, this was a guy who was a utility player that his biggest skill wasn't, he played a bunch of left field, played all over the place, but his biggest skill wasn't just the fact that he was a warm body who could play a bunch of positions. I mean, he could play different positions, and he could get you a lot of hits, find his way on base, steal you some bags. Just a great major league player.
Breaking ball just misses to Cam Maldonado, who started off the 3-run fourth with a base hit to left. Stole third and then came in to score on the base knock by Muzakia. Tristan Nemjo back out there after a 35-pitch fourth inning, and the inning starts with another base knock for Maldonado to center field. He makes the big turn at first. Here's the throw, and a little over anxious. He's out. Tagged out by Castratero, and an outfield assist for Michael Craig. Guns down his counterpart as Maldonado is out.
Yeah, that was a missile by Maldonado and a great play by Craig, because this ball keeps hooking off the bat away from Craig, and he knows what Northeastern's up to, that they want to take extra bases off of you. So he was fielding that ball in a position where he was absolutely ready to make his best throw to second base, and he did.
Feinberg swinging for the fences on the first pitch from Nemjo.
And that was a really great tag by Castratero as well, because that throw was ahead of Maldonado, but he had to grab it and then try and find the base runner who was trying to sneak in with a hand somewhere.
Maldonado made that decision pretty early where he saw that ball curling away from the center fielder, thought he could beat Craig to it. It was going to take a good throw, and to Craig's credit, he made it. Palmer makes this play, dug out by Lane, and Feinberg is out number 2, so an inning that started with a clean hit to center right now finds itself with the bases clear and 2 down. This would be big for Nemjo to get through this inning, keeping the damage just at 4-0. And give Hofstra an opportunity to feel like it's still in the game.
Well, and just give the offense time to calm down. It just felt as if last half inning that the Hofstra batters were pressing. They were down 4-0, and they looked like they knew they were down 4-0. If you can throw up a 0 here, let things settle in, and then you got the top of the order with Dylan Palmer coming up.
He's gotten good support from his defense, which is something that he hasn't gotten a lot at times this season. And he's fallen victim to it as Goodman sends this one over to Palmer. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for Nemjo, thanks to the glove work and arm work by Craig and Castratero. That'll take us to the 6th. 4-0 Northeastern, the lead over Hofstra. Here's a look at a dry for now, but still chilly Friedman Diamond as Jordan Gottesman back out there on the mound. He'll go to work against the top of the order. Dylan Palmer cues this one into center field, and if you had an asterisk by the bunt single back in the third, well, nothing on this one as he singles to start off the sixth. Well, it won't happen this weekend, but we'll show you that graphic again. The last time that the Pride won a series against Northeastern, you have to go all the way back to early May in 2012. And we'll try and show you that graphic after this next pitch to Michael Brown, who's 0 for 2 with a pair of fly ball outs today, as Palmer leads away from first. And strike one on Brown. Number one movie?
I'm going to guess The Avengers.
Yeah, well, you saw the graphic when it popped up there.
Okay.
But were you there opening weekend, or were your baseball or college duties busy at that point? Oh, they got Palmer picked off here. Throw down from Lane. It's out of the glove of Goodman, and Palmer steals second base, his 21st steal in 24 tries this season.
Yeah, had him picked off, and some combination of maybe a below-average throw from Lane. Goodman not able to haul it in. Let's see for Lane. The throw comes in. I'd say it's a pretty good throw. Goodman was trying to get himself away from the front of the bag so that he actually gave Palmer a chance to slide in. And just all of that converging at once. Well,
So-
May of 2012 was with the then Lakewood Blue Claws for the Philadelphia Phillies single A. And where were you?
I was in I was trying to figure out which city I was in, but I was at the Rangers AA in Frisco, Texas, and definitely was not seeing movies during baseball season, as I'm sure you were the same. Here's another cue shot. This comes right to Lane, underhand flip to Gottesman, and that'll take care of Brown as Palmer scurries to third base. First time a Pride player has reached third today. He's there with one out, and Luke Masig will try and bring him home. Were you listening to, were you a big Gautier fan? Were you saying, this guy, he's got a sound I haven't heard before?
I think a lot of people would say that about Gautier.
Yep.
And I think that 13 years later, we can also say that he's somebody that we did used to know. That is fair.
Can't think of another Gautier song, but I can't say I've ever really dug deep into the catalog or Kimbra either. Can't forget about that song's not complete without Kimbra. Masick down in the count here, 0-2. He struck out twice against Gottesman today. Trying to bring home Hofstra's first run since the second inning on Friday. The 0-2. Got him looking. Masick fed up with Nick Mull. He doesn't like the call, and that is the 8th strikeout for Jordan Gottesman today. He's been masterful. Now 2 down in the inning.
Yeah, down and away, Masick has every right to be frustrated with that being his 9th strikeout of the weekend. Anybody else that you would strike out probably wouldn't be annoyed, but for Masick, understanding where that has gotten to a boiling point.
Sean Lane fouls off the pitch, and with that strikeout, most that Gottesman has had in a Northeastern uniform, 8 strikeouts. He has not walked a batter. He has walked at least one man in every outing for the Huskies this season, but not today, and he is a strike away from making it 9 this afternoon.
By the way, you were in Midland, Texas.
Midland, Texas.
That weekend, yeah.
That's why I forgot about it. Because I intentionally put it out of my mind. I guarantee you it was not 43 degrees early May there. It might have been, 2 or 3 times that, I think it felt like.
Give me one redeeming thing that you liked about spending a weekend for a series in Midland, Texas.
The pizza at the Costco across the street from our hotel was pretty good.
I wish I could say that I have no concept of what you're talking about, but those are the small victories that you need traveling on buses around wherever.
It was my first time seeing a dust storm. 0-2 pitch. He struck him out. 9 for Gottesman. Career high for the lefty in a Northeastern uniform. And he disposes of the base runner in scoring position with ease. Keeps the shutout intact. Huskies will try and add on to a 4-0 lead after this.
Northeastern content, then be sure to go follow Baseball on Instagram and Twitter, like Northeastern Baseball on Facebook. Can't make the next home game? Howard Huskies Productions is your source then for live streaming, live stats, and archive video of all Northeastern athletic hall events, if that's the case. Be sure to take advantage of the full features, including live stats, right there on your device. The Huskies get ready to get the bat. Leading 4-0 in the bottom of the 6th.
Get a shot of the bullpen for the Pride. They've got Grady LaCourciere, who's just started to throw out there. So we'll see how the leash is on Tristan Nemjo, who's up at 87 pitches, coming off a 10-pitch fifth inning. And Nemjo, good to get the train back on the tracks as he was able to get through Maldonado, Feinberg, and Goodman. Now he goes to work against Carmelo Muzakia. Jacks this high in the air to center, but Craig has had a nice game out there, puts it away, and Muzakia is now 1 for 3.
And that, again, is a ball that, off the bat, hit in the air. Your first instinct is to check the flag, which is now blowing in as hard as it has all day. So maybe we're going to get a gentle shift of the wind out to left field occasionally, but center field, right center, right field, everything's just getting knocked down.
Fosberg at the dish, takes ball 1. Fosberg was up there for pretty eventful 4 pitches. Saw a double steal take place and then walked on a pitch that was a wild pitch. Brought a run home as he hits this one hard off the heel of Sean Lane's glove, but he's kept close enough to him to get to the bag. And Fosberg, after that stinger, is out number 2.
This is nicely done by Nemjo, who knows he's reaching the end of his rope. Action behind him in the bullpen. His game is not to strike guys out, so he's not nibbling even here in the 6th inning. He wants balls in play. And this wasn't an easy play for Lane, who knew he just needed to knock it down. It was hit so hard at him that just knock it down and you're going to have a chance to make the play. Didn't need to pick it cleanly. He didn't, but didn't panic.
Strike 1 to Gregory Bazo. Tristan Nemjo on the short end of a 4-0 score right now. But after games that Hofstra wins, Nemjo's dad has a nice little tradition that they've started. He gives 3 little fruity pebble boxes to the players of the game. Here's a pop-up to the right side. And Lane, a good inning for him. We'll see if maybe he's a guy who earns those fruity pebbles. Be a while before we see him in the batting order as his team trails 4-0. It's on to the 7th here from Friedman Diamond.
Yabba dabba do. For nothing Northeastern on to the 7th inning. And as this one develops further, Camera comes up to bat here for Hofstra. Nice day on Friday. Added a hit to the total here today. One of just a handful of hits so far off of Jordan Gottesman. And for Hofstra, we talked about briefly that Tyler Cox was lost on Friday with injury. We presume that it will be a long-term situation for Hofstra. So there are going to be additional at-bats up for grabs. And Camera's a guy that coming into the weekend had played just 16 games, but now finding himself in there. And it sure seems like he's making a bid to be someone that picks up the bulk of those missing at-bats from Cox. But he's down nothing or a ball and 2 strikes.
Yeah, and if he can perform the way he has this series, it's going to be a nice boost here for a Pride team that's going to miss Cox.
Fouled off on what, with a wooden bat, surely would have splintered.
Are these torpedo aluminum bats that they're using?
You know, I thought through this, and I think that because because aluminum bats are hollow, it takes the physics of the torpedo bat, it really makes it rather moot. Line drive, center field, another multi-hit day for Camera. And he is aboard as a leadoff base runner in the 7th.
That's a good piece of hitting with 2 strikes. He just reaches out, has enough on that maybe torpedo bat, maybe not torpedo bat, and enough muscle really to get that over the head of Muzakia into right center field. You see the raindrops, maybe a little bit more rain that's coming down here this afternoon. But good way to start the inning. They weren't able to take advantage in the 6th with the leadoff hit.
Ground ball to short. Turned it to second, 1. Relay to first. Double play on the ensuing pitch. Castratero bounces into a twin killing.
And so smooth there. Got to Goodman so quickly. Didn't have to move very far. He could take his time. Muzakia could as well. And you've got a pretty quick guy in Castratero running down that first base line. But this was very nicely handled by that middle infield combination. Again, we talked about Muzakia.
This one's laced down the left field line, and it runs down into the corner by Michael Craig, who's had a day in the outfield and now picks up his first hit. It's a double with 2 outs in the 7th.
Aggressive here. Last 3 pitches all have been hit into play here by Hofstra. Of course, the base hit came on the 6th pitch to Camera, but then first pitch swinging Castratero. Craig hunting on that first one, and it's just the 2nd extra base hit of the entire series for the Pride.
The 9 strikeouts by Gottesman, and he hasn't come close to a strikeout with this hungry attack for Hofstra here. Season high was Will Jones. He had 9 strikeouts against Harvard. A year ago, the individual single game high was Michael Gemma with 8. It's a pop-up on the right side. Lane makes the call. He makes the catch. And a 2-out double and a leadoff single. Doesn't add anything for Hofstra. They've been held off the board as it's stretch time in Brookline. Northeastern ahead for Zip. Top of the order looms for Northeastern. Alex Lane, Matt Brinker, and then it's Jack Doyle. He's walked once today. And since March 12th, he's been outstanding. You can add another walk to that total, and just everything that you want in an on-base or a leadoff hitter, getting on base, and he's gotten on base yet again here today.
Yeah, and that's why he's at the top of the order, batting in that leadoff spot. Northeastern has a few different candidates that they can go to fill that role.
Alex Lane, a ferocious eighth hitter in the lineup. Sinking fastball. It's a ball and no strikes.
What a great job by Nemjo to really get this thing back under control. It didn't look like he was long for the game in the fourth inning.
But after giving up a couple of hits, 3 walks and a hit by pitch, 6 base runners in that 3-run fourth, he's retired and faced the minimum, let's say, over the last 7 batters. Gave up a single to Cam Maldonado, but he was thrown out at second base trying to stretch to a double by Michael Craig in center. But Alex Lane in the driver's seat here, 3 balls and no strikes. In any other count, Lane's going to take a mighty hack. Instead, he watches it over for a 3-1 count. Swings and misses on what would have been ball 4, but a good breaking ball there from Nemjo.
It's interesting, Nemjo shook off his freshman catcher Biddle on the first opportunity. He wanted to throw that breaking ball in that spot. It was a good pitch.
Now a payoff pitch, and Lane lays off. Second time that Lane has reached. A couple of walks here today, and it brings up Matt Brinker.
That's a really nice plate appearance by Lane. That might be it, though, for Nemjo.
And it will also be it for Lane, Justin Boslin, to take over as a pinch runner. I don't know if we've gotten the official signal yet. And there's reason we haven't. Justin Boslin is in as a pinch runner, and Nemjo stays out there.
I think they trust Nemjo, and also there's the other side of the coin. The bullpen has been so inconsistent. It's not like there are a lot of candidates you can go to say, okay, well, we know we have a guy that can put out a fire here with a man on to start the inning and keep this game close.
A throw over to first, and Boslin was taking a half step the other way. He's 9 of 12 this season stealing bases. We've seen the Huskies take 4 bags. He goes. Bunt shown, pulled back. The throw down to second is in time to get Boslin. Seen a couple of really good throws from Nick Biddle, and that is the first out.
Oh, Boslin, his last 3 years had only been caught 3 times out of 36 attempts and a career 86% success rate. So that is definitely worthy of framing for Nick Biddle, that you got one of the toughest guys to throw out on the bases.
End of the bat pop-up from Brinker. It's the second baseman, Castratero. And just like that, 2 gone with nobody on in the 7th.
Now batting third baseman Jack Doyle.
Lineup turns over to Jack Doyle. And so maybe the confidence in Nemjo about to pay off. Northeastern with a run in the 3rd, thanks to a solo home run by the man who just popped out, Matt Brinker. And then in the 4th inning, single, sac fly, and a wild pitch produced 3 runs, and that's been it. Doyle off the end of the bat. It hangs up for Masick, and Nemjo has done wonderfully since giving up a 3 spot in the 4th. We're on to the 8th. It's Alex Vespoli to bring us to the finish line.
I get the weight?
Tons of substitution at first base for Northeastern, number 21, Justin Bonsley.
Jordan Gottesman was outstanding today for the Northeastern Huskies. 9 strikeouts, matched a season high for any Huskies pitcher. It was a career high for Gottesman, who pitched wonderfully back in March, but this is a guy who's coming off of a tough performance his last time out, and this was everything Northeastern was hoping for today.
Absolutely. You know, this is what they expect to get on a day-in, day-out basis from Jordan Gottesman, and showing that last week just a blip on the radar. Terrific today. Was locating, getting ahead of batters, going with his off-speed mostly on strike 3, and now he'll give way to another lefty who's tough to go against in Jack Bowery.
Bowery delivers to begin this 8th inning, and a breaking ball is in at the letters to Nick Biddle, who singled with 2 outs in the 3rd inning. That snapped the stretch of 8 in a row retired by Gottesman to begin the game. Line drive off the backside of Bowery. He recovers, and with a glove flip, not in time. Biddle, with enough speed, able to beat that one out.
Yeah, Mike Glavin raising his arms. Obviously, he's got a pretty good look at it in that first base dugout. We'll see if we see anything different. This was great effort after you just take one off the leg, flipping with the glove. Tough for us to tell if that hand got in before the ball got there. Sometimes I think if you're of course, on the Northeastern side, if you're partial to that, you want to see the pitcher rewarded for that effort. But not going to happen, and Mike Glavin wants maybe a quick check on his pitcher to make sure that Bowery's okay. And they are going to bring out the athletic trainer.
And there's Glavin with a bit of a wry smile. And that was all a conversation that was needed. Yeah, it seemed in real time that he had beaten this out. This is going to be a...
Ooh, I don't know. Based on that,
that's close.
I think, my instinct was the same as what you had just said before we saw that replay. But seeing that, I actually think the ball gets to Boslin's glove just before that hand got on by Biddle.
Bonslin is the defensive replacement after pinch running for Alex Lane. I know you weren't here on Friday. You were following along. There were a couple of instances where Hofstra was on the decided wrong side of some calls. And so maybe that's one that Hofstra can perhaps chalk up to the makeup column.
Couple of pitches today that Hofstra feels like they've been on the short end of the stick, particularly
Yes.
Luke Masick with his 3rd strikeout.
Leadoff single here in the 8th. Last inning, after a leadoff single, Tyler Castratero bounced into a double play. Probably not going to double up this guy, Dylan Palmer. In fact, he's bounced into just one of those this year. Excellent speed in the batter's box. And he's in the driver's seat at 3-1.
And we talked about how difficult he is to strike out. He hasn't struck out more than one time in any game this season. He's already reached his quota. Did that back in the 1st inning.
Set the tone of what we would eventually come to see from Jordan Gottesman, who struck out those 9 batters over 7 innings and exited in line for the win. Looking to improve that record to 4-2 on the season. Throw over to first. I think if you are Hofstra, you at least get Biddle moving. You trust Dylan Palmer to put the ball in play?
I think so.
He doesn't go. Palmer slaps one, foul that trickles just wide of the bag before reaching it.
Oof. I don't know about that. I'd like to get another look. First instinct, to me, that looked like a fair ball. And if it clears the bag, if it's in fair territory over the bag, it would be a fair ball.
It needs to catch just that front left corner.
I think it did. And I know that's not the ideal angle, but I'm going to trust what I saw with my own eyes. And I know it lands foul by the time it bounces over the bag, but I do think that it grabbed the white.
Another chance for Bowery. Flown in the air to center. This is Maldonado. First out of the inning. Biddle back to first.
I know Northeastern has been in the driver's seat for this entire game, it feels like, certainly since they grabbed the lead in the third, but good reminder, it's still very much up for debate. Hofstra has 5 outs and 4-run gap now that you've got Gottesman out of the game. Got certainly as good a chance as they could have hoped for in the middle innings of coming back in this one.
Yeah, things didn't look like this is where we'd be when things were unraveling in the 4th inning. Especially if you were to say that Tristan Nemjo was going to be the one that would have gotten you here. At that moment, it just didn't feel like that was the case.
The Huskies left the bases loaded, and I'm sure Northeastern says, well, it feels like we're going to be able to load the bases again, surely, if this guy stays in the game. But other base runners they got on after that each ran into outs.
Fought off by Brown, who has only hit right-handed today. Switch hitter has gone up against now a pair of lefties.
Numbers indicate he has been better against righties this season by about 60 points in his batting average.
You know, the one thing working against Hofstra, because again, I think you're exactly right that Hofstra is very much in this game. It's been 25 innings without a run against Northeastern this weekend now. The 0-2. Line drive, right center. This one's down. A hesitation and a bobble. Biddle stops at second. Northeastern collects itself, and Brown is aboard with a 1-out single.
If Biddle is feeling a little bit more confident in his speed, he certainly would have been able to get to third base with the bobble by Feinberg. Ultimately is meaningless, but talk about a great spot here for Masick, who's had a frustrating day, a very frustrating return to his old home ballpark, but because of this base hit, he's going to have an opportunity to get this game a lot closer.
Line drive, Masick caught at second. Double play ends the inning. It wasn't a strikeout. It was worse for Luke Masick in his return to Huntington Ave. A double play ends the threat, and a 0 remains on the board. Northeastern to bat when we return. Friendly confines of Friedman Diamond for the Northeastern Huskies as they look to improve to 25-9 on the season, 10-2 in conference play, and especially here at home, it has been the friendliest of confines for Northeastern.
Yeah, and you see they've had a healthy offense. The last couple of years, they've been up around 9 runs per game here. Mike Lavin, they love protecting what they call the Friedman Fortress, and they've been able to do that this season. Just the lone loss, that was in the first CAA home game against the Towson Tigers. Since then, they have been ripping off home wins, 10-1 overall this season here.
And a nice overhand breaking ball from Nemjo begins the bottom of the 8th inning. Incredible effort by the Hofstra starting pitcher, who's up over 100 pitches as he comes out for his 8th inning of work. Last time out through 7 innings against UNCW and did it on 119 pitches. This is a guy that just likes to come on out, and in his grad student year, why not?
What did Frank Catalanato say the first thing out of his mouth when we asked him about Nemjo? He said he battles. And boy, has he done that today.
It's been super impressive. Fastball rides up and out of the zone. Cam Maldonado stands in the box. Couple of hits today. Stole a bag, scored a run, but was thrown out trying to extend a single to a double.
Nemjo is a great high school baseball player at Tamarack High School. Actually led the state in home runs as a two-way player with 11 as a junior. Hit .588 that season.
Breaking ball misses up and in. There is nothing that a pitcher who is no longer allowed to hit loves to do more than talk about how good they were as a hitter.
Or maybe, I don't know what kind of quarterback he was, but he was a quarterback and punter on the football team. I'm sure he talks about the hang time on some of his best punts.
Fastball ripped by Maldonado. This sends the center fielder Craig drifting back on a ball that was squared up, but it's out number 1. It's the longest outing of the season for Nemjo, 7 1/3 now.
Yeah, career long for him. And to do it here back-to-back weeks. 7 innings against UNCW, 7 1/3 against Northeastern, 2 of the upper crust of the league. And I know that UNCW has not gotten off to the best start at 5 and 6 in conference play, but they're traditionally one of the best teams, just like Northeastern in the CAA. Makes it all the more impressive, and you can tell that he taps into his experience facing a squad like Northeastern to let himself stay competitive.
No balls and a strike. End of the bat this time. Feinberg sends it in the air, and a sprawling catch by Craig to recover on a tough read off the bat.
We talked about it all day. Craig has played marvelously defensively out in center field, getting the right reads on balls. He's got an outfield assist where he got Maldonado back in the 5th inning, and here he gets a great jump on that fly ball, helping quiet Northeastern's offensive chances here in the 8th.
Jack Goodman up and in for a ball. And there it is, out number 2.
I thought it was dropping.
Craig has played a solid center field. And that's one of those where he just wanted to make sure it wasn't going to get over his head and then had to come in hard. Jack Goodman with a ball and a strike against him. Nemjo looks cool and breezy here in the 8th. And he's up a ball and 2 strikes.
This could end up being the first career complete game for Nemjo. Of course, he's hoping that there is a 9th inning for him to pitch in, but there might not be.
Northeastern has a couple of complete games this season. Avon Cabral has one. Max Gitlin has the other. And as it stands right now, it's a complete game effort for Tristan Nemjo if his team doesn't extend it. They need 4 to tie, 5 to take a lead. Alex Vespoli to take us the rest of the way.
Deep ends of the substitution for your Huskies, now right field. Ryan Dory.
His team is on the short end of the scoreboard right now, 4-0 Northeastern, but a tip of the cap to Tristan Nemjo for the job he's done today. He retired the first 8 he saw, and here is the line through 8 innings. I don't want to call it the final line yet because we'll see what happens here in the top of the 9th inning, but you look at what he's done over the course of 8 innings. If Northeastern holds off Hofstra here, it would be a complete game. It's already a career high in terms of innings pitched. Jack Bowery returns to the mound and delivers strike 1 to Sean Lane, who is 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts today.
It cuts both ways that Hofstra's offense hasn't had these long rallies because Nemjo hasn't been in the dugout for long periods of time. He's been able to stay loose, stay in rhythm, and that's what happens when you got a guy that isn't a max effort starting pitcher. The velocity isn't creeping up into the low to mid 90s. He just goes out there and crafts his way through games.
1-2 here on Lane. Bowery pitched around a couple of base hits in the 8th inning, was helped out by the double play ball hit into by Luke Masick. And now ahead 1-2 on Lane. See another pitch coming up. Lane went to the same high school as Dom Camera, and maybe a little bit lesser well-known guy named Rick Pitino. Here's the 2-2. Good job by Lane to work this count full. He was down 0-2 as Bowery will look to finish off this inning. It would not be a save opportunity for Bowery. Came in a 4-0 game in the 8th with nobody on base. Payoff pitch. Missed up and away, and that is the first free pass handed out by Northeastern pitching today. But the leadoff man gets on for the 4th consecutive inning.
And this is an instance where Bowery misses his spot. He might not miss the strike zone, but he's missing the spot, and that's why he doesn't get the benefit of the call. Hofstra brings Mike Sweeney in to pinch run for Lane.
Sweeney, a two-way player, so he's aboard at first base. And the batter is Dom Camera. Swings at the first over the top of a pitch that was down. Sweeney, as far as base stealing, has not attempted one this season. Here's a ground ball to shortstop. Goodman has it onto Muzakia, but he airmails the throw into right field, backed up by Feinberg and to third base, and now that throw goes off the barrier in front of the dugout. It allows Cameron to get up to second, and the Pride are in business on defensive mistakes by Northeastern. A ball that looked like a double play rally killer ends up with men at second and third and nobody out.
2 errors credited on that play. One on the shortstop Goodman for his throw. The other on the right fielder Feinberg for his throw. Now, this is slowly developing, and it's a play to the left of Goodman. So he is in the mindset of, okay, we're going to try and turn 2 here. But I think if the instinct that everything's been going Northeastern's way today is surely we're going to turn a double play. Instead of saying, let's get the first out of the ninth inning at second base and get us closer to victory. Instead, Northeastern now finding itself in a much different spot and certainly injecting life into the Hofstra pride.
Mike Lavin will trudge out of the first base dugout, make his first mound visit of the day, and he has made the call to the bullpen where there is somebody throwing. And Jack Bowery, he walked lane after getting ahead 0-2 and then got a ground ball to an infielder. He leaves with the game in jeopardy. It's 4-0 Huskies. We've got a pitching change at Friedman.
Brett Dunham.
Right-hander number 17, Brett Dunham.
First time today, Northeastern has a right-hander on the mound. Brett Dunham comes out of the bullpen, second time in this series, as Bowery will go to the dugout with two men in scoring position, both his responsibility. And the numbers on Dunham have been excellent. He's been a trusted option, both in short and long relief, coming off a scoreless inning on Friday. And he features ball one to Tyler Castratero with Dom Camera at second and Mike Sweeney at third.
Again, this is a save opportunity, first of the year for Dunham, and I think he earned it based on how he pitched on Friday.
Breaking ball popped up into left center. Maldonado gives way to Brinker, the left fielder. Throw comes home. Tag there from Feinberg, and he gets his man. Sweeney thrown out by the catcher in left field. Matt Brinker making his first start in the outfield delivers the throw of a lifetime.
And for Maldonado, watch the interplay between left and center field. Brinker.
And it's actually Feinberg who shifted over to left. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry to Matt Brinker and folks of his watching. It was Feinberg who shifted to left earlier this inning, and Ryan Garrity is in right field. It's still a remarkable throw by Feinberg. And now there are two down with a man at second base as ball one comes into Michael Craig.
Either way, if you're a left fielder calling off the center fielder there, you better do something along those lines. And Maldonado and Feinberg are going to have a fun time with that one the rest of the day. That is just a beautiful play.
Outfield assist by Harrison Feinberg in left. The old 7-2 double play. It's a 1-1 count on Craig with a man at second and 2 down. Here's a ground ball to Goodman. Sees it into his glove, throws on the money, and Northeastern polishes off a series sweep of the Hofstra Pride with a 4-0 shutout victory. Yet another blanking of an opponent, their 9th of the season.
Program record, 9 shutouts, tops in the country, and it takes a heroic throw from left field to make it happen. Just an incredible play out in left, and Northeastern relishing in the play made by Feinberg on a 4-0 victory day with a result not in doubt, but certainly making a play like that in the 9th inning will make a 4-0 win feel like an exclamation point. Despite Tristan Nemjo's performance, the complete game effort, spectacular job by Nemjo, whose only hiccup was gutting through a tough 4th inning with some singles and walks and a hit by pitch mixed in there. But for Jordan Gottesman, he just as easily could have gone the distance as well. 86 pitches, Northeastern found their way through on only 4 hits, but they were economical in doing so. And Hofstra hit into 3 double plays, one in the 7th, one in the 8th, one in the 9th, neutering a chance at a possible comeback. Northeastern series sweep as they improve now to 10-2 in conference play.
Yeah, ground ball double play hit by Castratero in the 7th, the line-out double play by Masick in the 8th, and then Castratero again with the fly ball double out. The home run by Matt Brinker opened up the scoring, and then a 3-run bottom of the 4th inning finished it for the Huskies, who get their 2nd shutout of the series and outscore the Pride 19-1 in the 3-game sweep. They improved to 10-2 in conference, 25-9 in the season. Hofstra drops to 12-24 and a 3-9 record in the CAA. Well, big thank you to our crew who stuck around through the raindrops and the cold temperatures this afternoon. For them and my broadcast partner, Adam Giardino, this is Alex Vespoli with the final score here this afternoon. Northeastern puts away Hofstra 4-0. You've been watching CAA Baseball on Flow College.